Hi, I'm Nikki Woods, and we're going beyond the studio on blackamericaweb.com with the one, the only, Mr. Brian McKnight. What are you looking at?
I just, there's not 1 inch of this hallway or anywhere in here that's not decorated one way or another. I mean, the ceiling tiles, maybe the fans, but, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Every
I think
time
I
you come
worked
in
here for
it's-
2 years before I looked up and saw that there were clouds on
Yeah,
the top of the
I think that's the
ceiling.
first time I noticed that too.
Yeah, it's so strange,
Awesome.
but it is awesome. It's kind of like a museum.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it should be.
It should be. Yeah, so we're glad to have you.
Glad to be here,
Yeah.
even at 5:30 a.m.
This is the attitude we've been getting all morning.
You know what? If I don't act that way, I'll fall asleep.
Really?
So I just have to psych myself. I'm psyched, ready to
What
go.
time do you normally get up? Like 2
You know
in
what?
the
You
afternoon?
know what's funny? I used to get up around 11 or 12. Since I started playing golf about 7 years ago, I'm usually up by like 7.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I don't have to be anywhere at 7. See, I had to leave the hotel at 5. At 5. Now, people say, well, it's only 2 hours. It's only 2 hours. Yeah, that's 2 more hours of sleep. 2 more.
I understand.
Because I can't really get to sleep before 1 or 2.
But we play
So-
with pain here. We play with
You
pain.
play with pain.
Well, that's
You
why we don't
speak
want to
for
hear
yourself.
We don't want to hear one day of complaining from you.
Pain equals gain.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
So tell me about the new album, More Than Words. What does that mean?
More Than Words, I always try to pick a song on the album because I don't have a concept in mind when I start writing. But there's always one song that sort of says what I'm really trying to say. And for most of my life, I've been the
He's
kind
so
of guy
nice.
who says something just to say it.
Oh,
And,
no, you didn't have to. Thank you, sir.
Usually I would say something and not necessarily mean it. And that got me in a lot of trouble. And for the last year or so, I've been just being honest.
Just for
And
the last year, really?
about everything.
Oh.
Especially when it comes to relationships and things
Right.
like that. I mean, that's the only thing I would really embellish or, because you say what people want to hear and then they'll do pretty much anything you want them to do. And I knew that. But you do that and you don't realize what the consequences are later on down the line. So instead of dealing with all that, I found now that just being honest, you can still get everything you want, but it puts everything in its proper perspective. So this song,
You can probably still get everything you
I
want.
think anybody can.
I don't know.
I think if people are working from knowing what they're dealing with, then if they don't deal with you, they don't. And if they do, at least they know what they're dealing with, as opposed to it being under the guise of something else. So what I decided was with this song was the next time I say something, I'm going to mean it. I'm going to be more than just what I say.
So you really don't start with a concept in mind?
No.
So
No.
you just, how many songs do you think you write to complete an album?
It's done when it's done. I don't have an exact number.
60, 40?
No, I used to write like that because most of the songs I wrote weren't very good. And a song that wasn't, not that it wasn't good, but that song got me to a song that was really good.
Good, right.
And then 3 or 4 songs make me to the next song that's really good. Now, pretty much every song, I didn't write extra songs for this album. I wrote 16 songs, period.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long did it? Because everybody does like the rough draft. I mean, in any
I don't
creative
do rough
process.
drafts.
Really?
I don't do, when I'm writing, I have a studio right there in my house. I record and I'm done. That's it.
Wow.
And I've actually been working that way since my first album. The first album I wrote 100-something songs.
Right.
For that album.
That's what we usually get from artists.
Nope.
Most artists say they have to write, at least twice.
Nope.
No.
I don't do demos. I don't do.
He has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's just if it's what it's supposed to be, it should be. In my head, I hear it conceptually each song the way it's supposed to go, and then when it transfers to my fingers and my throat, it should be what I hope what it could be.
So let's talk a little bit about the parody song. I mean, you've done some interviews about it, and you talked about it. What were you thinking? Really? Because it's like we talked about it.
It's really simple. I was in the club at an after party for one of my shows, and a song came on that the girl standing next to me was singing every word to.
Mm-hmm.
It was "Beat Your P Up,"
Okay.
and they were doing things on the dance floor that you wouldn't see in a strip club.
Okay.
So I said to myself, let me see what this is really about, because I had never heard
The song.
I wasn't really listening to the radio at the time. I don't think they can play that song on the radio, but it was the hottest song in the club that
Right.
night. So I went to Twitter and I said, I'm thinking of doing an adult mixtape. What would you like me to write about? And people were saying things like, oh, write about a bad relationship. I was like, I write about that all the time. Do you not know what adult means?
Well, we're
So
thinking when you say adult, it's grown up. We're not thinking like rated X.
Why would you think that?
Well, I guess because we're so used to it. And my main thing was like, I mean, it seemed like a gimmick.
Wasn't
And
a
we were
gimmick
like, Brian
necessarily.
doesn't need a gimmick.
Do I? But don't I?
No, you don't.
Look at it this way. I've been writing the same love songs for 20 years.
And they still work.
They still work per se. I wrote that one song. It became the #1 trending topic in the world for 3 days in a row. So in the world that we live in now,
Okay.
in the world that we live in now, the experiment was, one, will people really listen to the words of this song? Because it's still the most clever song I've ever written. #1, hands down. And will people get past this chorus of a song that I'm doing as a parody? I never once said this is the song for my next album, this is the direction I'm going in, but people automatically assumed because I wrote something that it was going to be the next whatever. And the fact that this song has real changes and real melodies and real lyrics, I doubt, Nikki, as smart as you are, that you've listened to those lyrics and even know who's talking.
No, we had to listen to the lyrics.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Tom and Jay love that
and
song.
You still of course they do, because once you listen to the words, you're like, oh, I didn't really look at it that way, did I? See?
Did you expect the backlash?
I didn't, because the people who know me, people who have seen me on tour, people who have talked with me for 5 minutes know that I'm really, really, really funny. I use humor in my show. Otherwise, you're going to sit through an hour and a half of slow songs, you probably fall asleep.
No. No, I agree with you there.
So if you look at the video, and Funny or Die knew what I was doing. Obviously, I didn't call them, and I'm not famous enough or hip enough at this moment for Lorne Michaels to be like, ooh, come host Saturday Night Live and do a parody like Justin did when he did Dick in the Box. I'm just saying.
I understand.
So I did my own and did it the backwards way. And once those guys at Funny or Die, you know, Will Ferrell and Zach, they understood what I was trying to do. They funded the video. I was like, I must be on to something. People should stop taking themselves so seriously, because don't say that it's okay if I listen to so-and-so do that kind of record. But Brian, not you, Brian. It's like, really? I've been making these songs. You think that I'm somewhere not doing something to somebody? Is that what you really think?
Would you do it again?
No, because doing it again.
No, if you know now what you...
Well, no.
Would you do it
I would
again?
do that again. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I needed some things, and you need to really understand that it's for real. And until you know it's real, it's like, this is where we are. This is exactly where we are, that people compartmentalize everything. I only want this from you, and I get this from you. And then, people are like, well, what happened to Back at One? I was like, people, that was 14 years ago. If that's the last record you've listened from me, then you're not really a fan anyway. You don't really know what I'm about. And I'm about doing something creative. And this was one of the most creative things I've ever done. It just, for whatever reason, I put one word in a song, and it changes everybody's mindset for 3 days. And
it was longer than 3 days.
It was, 3 days as a concentration. And somebody else did something crazy, and they were on to that the next day. But people are still a year later. It's been a year.
Yeah,
since that
and
happened.
we still want to talk
they're
about
still talking about it. So
did that change? Because I know you said, like, with this album, that this is the first album that you're really going to sell, like, via social media.
Right.
Is that what changed it for you when you saw the power of what,
what
a
it
tweet
is?
can do?
It's it takes a minute for you to understand how much you need to annoy people to get them, to remind them of who. It's true. To go on and solicit people to listen to your music, because it happens on my timeline all the time. Oh, I have this song, listen, da-da-da-da, and you can kind of get annoyed by that. As an established artist, then I don't think your pride will allow you to really put yourself out there the way you need to. And it's just taken me a minute to understand that it's the only way that I can continue to be in people's consciousness, by using social media to my advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I know with you, I mean, you came here for this purpose. You came here to promote your album.
Right.
You didn't just happen to be in Dallas and stop by, which is what we usually get. People are just like...
Yeah, Tom and I were talking about that. Why, if you're not proactive about your own career, don't be mad on the other side when things aren't happening the way you hope they would, or that you expect them to. Nobody's going to do you a favor. Listen, Tom and I go way back, and I appreciate the fact that he's always been there for me. But I think he does that because he knows I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the things. I'm going to come in and sing at 6 a.m. I'm going to do all those things because we both understand that one hand washes the other. And I hope we genuinely like each other. We've had our issues over the years, but that only comes in any kind of relationship.
Right, exactly.
I think we're past all that. But I understand it. He understands it, and I think more people. You hear people complain all the time. Well, my record label didn't do this, and I was like, really? Because whatever. But I can't be concerned about them. I can only be Brian McKnight.
So what is next? What is like the next step for you? I know you have your sons, and they're doing their thing, and they're on the album.
Really trying to get them where they need to be, in spite of themselves.
Well, they're only 20, right? 20 and how old?
23 and 20.
Yeah.
And
they're going to be in their own way for a while.
This generation has a very different view of what it takes to get where you're going. I think because of social media, they see all these other people that just miraculously get on.
YouTube stars overnight.
And even they had to annoy the hell out of somebody.
Exactly.
For a long period of time. In anything, I read this book a while ago. It's going to take you about 10 years to get where you're trying to go. And the only way you're going to get there is diligent, hard work. And people need to believe that you're willing to do that work to get on your bandwagon on the other side of that. So we're getting there. Slowly. And it's my fault. It's my fault. Listen, you want to give your kids.
My dad is Brian McKnight.
You want to give your kids everything you didn't have, and it's not always. I spoiled them. I did. I gave them every because I didn't get every Nintendo game I wanted. I didn't.
So now they're gonna be living with you till they're 40.
As long as they're not living with me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the album drops. Is it the 15th?
The 19th.
The 19th. I'm sorry, the 19th. But you can pre-order today on iTunes. It's Brian McKnight, More Than Words. Thank you very much, sir. I heard you've been invited back.
Yes, I'm gonna call back probably the morning of the 19th, just to remind folks that. Remember when I was here 2 weeks ago? Well, today is today.
You can check out. And what song did you do? You did an extra song for BAW. Which song was that you performed yesterday?
I did Trying Not to Fall Asleep for all the parents out there who are having difficulty getting their little children to sleep. This song gives you the child's perspective.
Oh, it's a lullaby?
It's not necessarily a lullaby. It's a reverse lullaby. Oh. It's the kids saying the things that they can't say because they can't really talk and express to you why they're having the problems before you go.
Oh, that's sweet.
Beating the hell out of them. Listen to this song. Give you a different perspective.
It's Brian McKnight. We've gone beyond the studio on blackamericaweb.com.